This is NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell discussing the league's stance on marijuana.
You're ingesting smoke, so that's not usually a very positive thing. It does have addictive nature. There are a lot of compounds in marijuana that may not be healthy for the players long term.
Suddenly it makes sense why the NFL suspends its players for weed. The commissioner just watched Reefer Madness.
Marijuana, the burning weed with its roots in hell.
But take a closer look at Goodell's comments, and three things stick out. One, there's just enough truth to protect him legally. Two, it's completely hypocritical given the NFL's current practices. And three, it all makes perfect sense when you look at Goodell's history as commissioner. A decade spent enriching NFL owners with little to no regard for the well-being of players. First, let's look at marijuana as a pain reliever. Goodell is right that inhaling smoke is not technically a good thing for humans to do, but weed is essentially harmless if used casually by healthy adults, especially when compared to tobacco and alcohol. Goodell also conveniently overlooks that marijuana doesn't need to be smoked. Come on, Raj, even grandparents know about edibles. And that there are strains of medical marijuana that have almost no THC.
It's not necessarily the marijuana and the THC, it's the oil, the CBD that you get from the plant that's helping these players.
Doctors and scientists are still researching CBD, but there's evidence that it can treat and prevent head injuries, while marijuana on the whole has been medically proven to lessen chronic pain. Even better, researchers are increasingly finding a correlation between marijuana use and a decreased dependence on opioids. Which brings us to the hypocrisy of Goodell's statement.
And it's not as simple as, someone just wants to feel better after a game. I want to make sure that the negative consequences aren't something that is going to be something that we'll be held accountable for some years down the road.
Try to work out the logic here. Goodell says marijuana is addictive, and he doesn't want the league to be held accountable for unforeseen consequences of long-term pot use, even though medical evidence suggests there are no serious repercussions. And he said all this while the NFL is being sued for handing out Vicodin like candy, even though opioids are highly addictive and cause severe liver damage with long-term use. This makes no sense at all, unless you think like Roger Goodell. He is a capitalist to the core. In 2010, when the NFL had an annual revenue of $8.5 billion, Goodell set a revenue goal of $25 billion annually by the year 2027. That is his singular focus: make money for NFL team owners, and then make some more. He isn't concerned about players managing their pain or their long-term well-being. When a reporter asked him about the on-field deaths of several high school players, this was part of his response.
There's risk in life. There's risk to sitting on the couch.
Once you view the league solely as a money-making enterprise, everything Goodell has ever done makes sense. He locked out the players for money. He locked out the referees for money. He instituted Thursday Night Football, which doesn't give players sufficient recovery time, for money. He wants a team in London to grow the NFL's European market, regardless of the logistical horrors or how badly jet lag hampers player recovery. He wants an 18-game season and expanded playoffs because he has an obscene revenue goal to hit. And he warns of the addictive qualities of marijuana while conveniently ignoring alcohol because Bud Light paid $1.4 billion to be the official beer of the NFL. Money is his only morality, and that's why Goodell has failed so spectacularly at managing Spygate, Bountygate, Deflategate, the concussion and CTE scandal, the NFL's ongoing domestic violence problem, and anything else that requires a remotely human response. Goodell isn't a steward of the game, he's a foreman for billionaire robber barons. So, what do you think he'll do about pot? Will he look at the most recent poll that showed 61% of American voters believe marijuana should be legal for adults, or that 88% support medical marijuana? Do you think he'll say, hey, you know what? State and federal laws don't agree on the legality of marijuana, so the NFL won't drug test players for it? No, that would be a human response. Here is what he'll do. When the collective bargaining agreement is set to expire in 2020 and the players' union calls for the end of marijuana testing, Roger Goodell is going to bleed the players for every penny he can. It will cost the players millions of dollars in compensation to win the right to use a largely decriminalized drug that would lessen the pain inherent to their job. Roger Goodell sucks at being a human being, and it's exactly why he'll be the commissioner of the NFL for as long as he wants to be.